Hi everyone, it's Tori here from STEM Coding, and I'm here with Katie.
Hey.
Today we're going to be walking through a troubleshooting activity with you. Troubleshooting is going to be really helpful. It's going to be the only way you're really going to be able to find any kind of issues in your code. So if you're running your code and it's not running properly, troubleshooting is going to be how you're going to figure out what in particular is wrong with your code. I have two quotes here. It's really going to sum up what we're doing today. The first one is, "It's the best of times, it's the worst of times," by Charles Dickens, which really fits the situation because it's going to be really hard in the beginning, it's going to be intimidating, but it's also going to be really rewarding and helpful for you. And the second one is, "Fortune favors the brave." So just stick with it, be brave, and it's going to work out better for you in the end, and you're going to be happy you did it. So what we're going to do to run through this troubleshooting activity is we're going to look at the Hello World code from our last activity. I'm going to go ahead and open that and hit edit this lab in the file group. And as you can see, we have our code here. So you have the function draw, which is going to draw Hello World on the screen, which if I hit run code, you can see here. Perfectly centered in the screen. So the text size is going to determine how big that is. And then we have X hello and Y hello, which is going to be the coordinates for where Hello World is going to be on that screen. So we're going to want that centered. So we're going to have our X hello 0.35 times the width, which is going to start it a little bit left to the screen so it ends up nice and centered like that. And then we're going to have our Y hello, which is the height, divided by 2, which is going to put it exactly directly in the screen. And then this draw text is just going to draw Hello World, X coordinate, Y coordinate, so it's right centered there. So that's just the code we're working with, and we're going to sabotage this code and then try to figure out how to fix it, essentially. So
Yeah. My job is to sabotage this code. It's going to be fun. It's like making mistakes, but on purpose. And then other people have to fix it. So, first step is sabotaging these variables. So in the draw text function, we have Hello World being drawn at X underscore hello and Y underscore hello coordinates. So right here, we're just going to get rid of that underscore and see what happens. Right there. Give it a minute. Haha. Nothing. Now, she has to fix my mistakes.
So as you can see, it's not written on the screen right now because we sabotaged that. But if you're running into this error in your code, you're not going to understand that you sabotaged it. So the only way you're going to be able to figure that out is this error message at the bottom here, which says X hello is not defined. So what you would do when you see an error message like that is you would go back into your code and you would look for X hello and figure out why it's not defined. And then I could see, oh look, I have X hello without an underscore, but up here it's defined with an underscore. So all I would go in to do is fix that is I would enter my underscore once again and run the code. And it's back to working perfectly again. And you can do the same thing with the Y hello. It's going to give you the same kind of error. And that's how you fix that particular error in your code.
I'm back. We are going to now sabotage the draw text and draw size functions. So right here, we're just going to change text size. We're just going to make that capital S into a lower s and see what happens. Run the code. White screen of death. Nothing happens. But what about this draw text? Let's see what happens there. Change that too. Just make that T in text lowercase. Oh, it only shows 1 is wrong. Let's see what happens now.
Okay, so if I was going in to troubleshoot our white screen of death, first thing I would go and I would see is the flag that comes up at the bottom. It says text size is not defined. So first thing I know is there's an issue with text size. So I would go back into my code, and logically I would go ahead and fix text size to capitalized that. And I would run my code. And we still have the white screen of death, which shows me now that we have a different issue, and that is in our draw text function. So go back to our code. It points me to draw text. I'm going to capitalize that T, run the code. We once again have a perfectly working code based on those error messages that we troubleshooted.
All right. What else can I do with this code? Accidentally creating a function. Oh, that sounds fun. So, in this x_hello, we have 0.35 times the width. So we're going to make another variable called xfrac, so the fraction of that x frame. So right here, the second one, that's what we're going to change. We're just going to get rid of that multiplication sign and put parentheses around it. Looks the same, right? That's what we do in math. So xfrac, we're going to set that equal to 0.35. And then we're just going to get rid of this and put xfrac here. And we're going to put parentheses around width. Parentheses. There. Looks pretty good. But nothing happened. Let's see. The white screen of death strikes again.
So what you're going to see here again is your error message at the bottom. It says xfrac is not a function. So I'm going to look back into my code, and I'm going to find xfrac, and I'm going to wonder, why isn't that a function? It's defined right there. But the issue again is it does not recognize parentheses as multiplication. So if you go ahead and enter a little asterisk and run the code again, it's back in working order perfectly because we are very clearly indicating now that we're multiplying.
So we're going to sabotage now the if statements. Right here, if you just copy paste that into your code, Control C, I'll help you do that. Just highlight that. Control C, and you can paste that right into your code. Just like that. And so right here, Control V is pasting it. That is your friend. It's how you just put in portions of code really quickly. Control C and Control V to post it in. So right here, if 0 is greater than 1, yeah, that always happens. No, it's never true. So this portion of code will never get run. So just this is now up there. So we're going to get rid of that highlighted portion right there because it's right here. And we will see what happens now. Run the code. Nothing happens.
Okay, so based on this error message right here, it says that xfrac is not defined. So if we go back to our code here and we look at where we defined xfrac, you can see the issue is that we defined xfrac within the if statement. The problem is the if statement never runs true because it says if 0 is greater than 1, which is clearly, as we know, not true. So a great way to resolve this without changing our if statement is to create a global variable, and that's a variable defined outside of that if statement. So we can just go ahead and type in xfrac is equal to, we can just make it equal to 0, and don't forget your semicolon. And then we can once again run this code. And you can see that it runs properly. Hello world is there. The only issue that you can see here is hello world is all the way to the left of the screen. The reason that's happening is because we defined xfrac as 0. Whenever you multiply that xfrac, which is 0, by the width, it's giving you an XLO value of all the way to the left of the screen, which is just going to place that word all the way to the left of the screen, as you can see here, which is not ideal, but the code still runs properly, so we fixed that error.
Okay, let's see what's next. So they did the global variables. Live dangerously, let's go. Putting code before the function draw. Okay, so we're going to copy paste this draw text. Control C, copy that into the code right here, right above that draw function. Control V, paste that in there, and run the code. White screen of death. Oh, no, error message. Tough one.
So as you can see here is we have the white screen of death, but there is no error message on this. So what we can do to debug this is we can hit function 12, F12. Don't do function, just F12. And then if you scroll up, now this is on Firefox, it's going to be different on Chrome or Safari, which I'll tell you after. But you have two error messages here. First you have is the function is not defined, and then you have another error message. It says XLO is not defined. So rule of thumb with this is always follow your first error message first, because your second error message could be a result of your first error message. So if I go back to my code here, you can see that we have this function draw text. We have draw text before the function draw, and we call on XLO. But XLO is defined within our function. So rule of thumb, you want everything defined within your function because it can't call upon XLO because it's written before the draw function. So if you go ahead and delete that and run the code, it's going to run perfectly once again because everything is defined within our function. So F12 will pull up that console in Firefox and in Chrome. If you're on Safari, it's a little different. You're going to have to go here and it'll explain at the very bottom. You can follow that. If you're on an iPad, there's really no good way to get it up. The best way to do is honestly just go and find a computer and go on Firefox, Chrome, or Safari and follow one of those steps.
All right, what's next? Sabotaging a curly bracket. So you can see right here, if we just delete one of the curly brackets out of that if statement right there, missing curly bracket. So that's what we're going to do right now. So right here, we're just going to get rid of that curly bracket and run the code. White screen of death. Even more so, white screen of death. Bring that back to the code. There's a little hint there.
Okay, so as you can see, we don't have any kind of error message on this screen, but if you go ahead to your other screen, you can see that we have both the red X and then we have the yellow exclamation point. So what that's telling us is we have some kind of error within that range. Every open curly bracket is going to need a matching closed bracket. So you can see up at the function draw, we have a open bracket, and then we close that down here. And then if you go to the if statement right there, you can see that there is no matching curly bracket to close it off. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to go ahead in there and enter that closed bracket. And you can now see that every open bracket has a matching closed bracket. And if you run the code, it's once again in working order.
Okay. What's next? No more sabotaging. Just Control Z. Well, I don't think I've done sabotaging this code yet. Well, let's just see how bad we can make this code. Let's just go through and re-put them all in. So there's that text size, just changing that again from a capital S to a lowercase s. This one in x hello, x underscore hello, and x y underscore hello. We'll just get rid of that underscore again. Remember that from step 1. Oh, this curly bracket. Don't need that. Yeah. We'll just go ahead and do this one too. Draw text, changing that uppercase T just to a lowercase t. Errors galore. No way this code's gonna run. White screen of death. Wahaha. All of the errors.
All right, so if you're going to go ahead and run this code, you can see we have a white screen of death here, and then we also got our flags on this page as well. So you can always go about this the way we showed you before and troubleshoot error by error, but when you have a lot of errors like this case, when in doubt, just go ahead and undo what you did until you get back to a place in the code where you were earlier when it was running properly. So a good way to do that is just Control-Z, which will undo your code until you get back to a point before where it was working. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to click in here and Control-Z. And you can see we already have one error gone. And I can run this code. And we still have errors, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to Control-Z. Click in there. Go ahead, run it again. Still have errors, so I'm going to continue to Control-Z. Run it one more time. And we once again have a working code. So that, when in doubt, is a great way to fix any of your kind of errors, is just keep undoing until you're back to a place where the code is functioning how it was before. I think that's everything we have for you today on troubleshooting. So just go at it and be brave and just keep trying until you figure it out. And it's a work in progress. So thank you, everyone. Good luck.